name is Batiste. I'm an interventional cardiologist by day and a lifestyle enthusiast by night. Today, I'm thrilled to bring to you an exclusive glimpse into a groundbreaking event that really promises to reshape the landscape of healthcare. Set against the backdrop of March 24th through 26th of 2024, the HELP Conference, Health Equity Lifestyle Project. It's not just an ordinary gathering. It's a convergence of minds. It's a symphony of ideas aimed at addressing health disparities. These are simply differences that occur within segments of the population that result in differences in health outcomes. I'm going to uncover what really makes this conference unique, why you should attend, its pivotal themes, and why it's a must attend for everyone passionate about health and about community wellness. So without further ado, let's dive into the heart of the HELP conference and discover the transformative potential it holds for our collective health journey. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to another session of What HELP got to do with it as we discuss the HELP Conference, Health Equity Lifestyle Project. And we're bringing together important people who are contributing to this venture. And today I have the honor of welcoming the esteemed Dr. Kim Williams. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning from down under. Doing good.
Wonderful, wonderful. You're down under. What are you doing down there?
So this is, I think, my 24th year of the Australian Open. A wonderful nuclear medicine physician here asked me to give a lecture back in 2002. So I guess it's 23. And I said, sure, I'll come to Australia and give a lecture if it's the last 2 weeks of January, because that's the Australian Open. Fell in love with the tournament. I pretty much go to every Grand Slam, but by Australian Open, for anyone who's a tennis player and hasn't been here, it is the best Grand Slam to attend. So,
wow, I love it. I love it, man. I'll tell you, athlete, a scholar, and it's a world-renowned cardiologist. What don't you do? So, I think this tells us even more. Such an honor to have you joining the list of individuals presenting and speaking at the HELP conference coming up March 24th through 26th of 2024. And so question for you, right? So many of the conferences, they really will have just clinicians speaking, or they'll have different segments. This conference, we're bringing together individuals from different areas, but why is it essential for individuals, healthcare professionals, and policymakers to really come together to address health disparities?
So if you look at it from the 35,000-foot view, we were really suffering in the United States. We're the only advanced country, high-income country, that still has heart disease as the leading killer. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of that has to do with our own risk. And it's not that we don't have a good healthcare system, that it's not that we don't know how to do cardiology. Of course we do. But everything we do in cardiology, if you just pick up a journal and ask yourself, how much of this is mopping up the floor and how much is turning off the faucet? That is, how much are we doing prevention versus treatment? The ratio is completely out of balance. So we're preventing less and treating more. So at some point, we have to recognize that healthcare disparities exist because everything from poverty to systemic racism, undereducation, and so that if you look at the relationship between heart disease mortality and ethnicity, it's actually pretty disparate, but it really goes by income. And so anything that impoverishes a people, whether it's the south side of Chicago where I grew up, or the west end of Louisville, that I'm focused on all of our nutrition interventions and screening programs, or if you just start getting in the car from Louisville and go east to the poor areas of Appalachia, you'll see incredibly high rates of cardiovascular disease, and it's all about lifestyle. The smoking, the diet, lack of exercise, obesity, uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled hypertension. If we could do the things that are necessary to rein all that in, it's going to dramatically improve our health as a country, and it's going to dramatically decrease our healthcare costs.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I mean, you really hit it right on the nail on the head. And one of the things is that I know you had the distinct honor of participating in the White House Conference on Nutrition, one of the first in many, many years. And while addressing an area that's become growing recognition in terms of food as medicine, food insecurity that's there. And so this is one of the areas, and I think that's one of the questions is really how is addressing food insecurity, this disparate communities, how can it really promote health equity? And you've alluded to it in your first response.
Well, I have a very different view about food as medicine, food insecurity, because what I'm seeing isn't that people don't have food, is that people don't have healthy food. And why don't they have healthy food? Well, that's on us. And so what I tried to get across to the committee that was making recommendations to Biden administration for that conference was that we really need to do community education. We have to first agree on principles. If you have a food that increases mortality, we should not have that in our guidelines. That would include refined grains, sugar sweetened beverages, anything with cholesterol, which means an animal product, anything with saturated fat, anything with sodium. And I probably listed that in reverse order of importance. So, in terms of all of the recent data on sodium being so terrible for people. And so if we can change, what I like to say is when people say, West End of Louisville is a food desert, and you go in there and there's not good produce. Well, the reason is that the grocery stores are not in the healthcare business. They're in the keep my grocery store open business. And how do you do that? You sell stuff to people that they want to buy. And so, while we could use food to educate people, and that was one of the recommendations that we talked about, the FDA would like to change the labeling. We agree with that completely, put the sodium, saturated fat, sugar to fiber ratio on the front instead of the back. But we also have a food labeling stoplight system that's been tested in other countries and is extremely really interventional because it's informational. So if a person knew that all processed meats, that's the hot dogs, the sausages, the lunch meat, bacon, ham, that they were World Health Organization group 1 carcinogens. Their processed meat is associated with coronary heart disease and stroke and heart failure. And you put that on a label or put a red sticker on it, and then maybe the people who eat those things would do it once or twice a month. Okay.
Exactly.
Maybe they would do it not at all if they knew that it was going to harm their health. And so why don't we be in the education business and get our everyone to understand what's healthy and what isn't? And so I'm looking forward to the recommendations that we made for that White House to really take teeth. Incentivize the SNAP program to buy more healthy things, convince people through community education and public service announcements that they could actually change their outcome by changing their health, and they do that by changing their diet. And if we could do that, we would go so far. And so I'm hoping that we'll bring all this out of the health conference and get people to come.
Yes. I mean, listen, folks, if you are not convinced you need to come and attend the HELP conference, this little clip right here should do the trick. The knowledge, the passion, the understanding of really what we're facing from Dr. Williams, I think that's phenomenal. And so, I think it goes with that. It's really a muted question when I ask about how can attending the HELP conference in person really contribute to building more resilient and equitable healthcare systems for everyone and coming together. I think you just answered it. We have to come together, but I'm gonna let you still answer it.
Well, I think this in-person versus virtual versus not attending should not be an option. Okay, should be mandatory.
That's right.
But having the opportunity to do things in person really stimulates the brain. I'll actually admit it that after all those years of speaking for the Australian New Zealand Society of Nuclear Medicine. The Doctors for Nutrition was started by a couple people who knew that I was coming, and that was 2017. And we did a meeting pretty much every year, and they do other events, particularly with the Plantrician Project. Scott Stoll's been out here in Australia with them. I did 2 conferences with them while I was here already. I know this is supposed to be a vacation, but that's another problem. And we talked specifically about my frustration with physician nutrition. What's on our plate? It was if people will Google that word, my name, and what's on our plate, you'll see an article that said that 1 out of 274 surveyed physicians was doing a whole food plant-based diet. 4% if we're doing a healthy diet, if you include Mediterranean diet, because it's stroke reduction, does not reduce heart disease, doesn't reduce cardiac death, just go from red meat to fish, does not reduce overall death, but it does reduce stroke. So if you include that, then it was 4%. So 96% of our physicians at 2 universities in Chicago that were surveyed were eating a terrible diet. And this was the first time I had a publication where once it came out in print, it really just hit me personally, because I've been doing this, 20-something years. I've been trying to get people to change their diet. And if I'm not convincing my colleagues in cardiology, then how can we ever get the patients or the patients' families or the community or the nation? And so I actually did what most modern people do when they're stuck. Ask ChatGPT.
Our new best friend, right?
Yeah. So I've gone to ChatGPT and I said, ChatGPT, if a whole food plant-based diet can decrease death, decrease chronic disease, decrease our healthcare budget, which is absolutely overwhelming us economically, decrease animal cruelty, and decrease the damage to the planet, why aren't we all doing it? ChatGPT came up with 10 really good answers, just the ones that you would expect. Affordability, culture, history, habit, taste, all these things that each one of them has an individual response where we could say, let's work on culture. Let's work on, family dynamics. Let's work on habit, and let's prioritize health over and ingrain new ways of thinking. So anyway, had a wonderful session where the Q&A with the Doctors for Nutrition was actually me asking them, tell me what you think about ChatGPT's 10 answers. And we got some really good, controversy going, like, the way to deal with cultural is incrementalism. And that's probably true for many people, not me. I mean, I just read the literature, and if it says 10W40 motor oil, not 10W30, will clean out all my arteries, I will start taking it. That's just that's what I do. And so as it turns out, I know not everyone is like that. They can't just, go cold turkey without the turkey, of course, and change their diet. But those of us who do a lot of CPR, putting in stents, and don't want to be that person on the table, we have that extra motivation that I understand that many of my patients don't have until they've had an event, and then they're highly motivated. So that's anyway, right. The next day after that conference, where I'd gotten all this input, we had another sort of leadership meeting. And this is where your point about meeting together really makes sense. Sitting around the table, talking about the answers that people came up, talking about more answers of how to address the problem, and came up with I thought was a pretty good idea that hit me just sitting there talking to everybody, is that, why are we going this alone, Doctors for Nutrition? Why are we going this alone? Why aren't we partnering with the animal rights people? Why aren't we partnering with the planet sustainability people? Why aren't we calling a conference together where we actually try to leverage each other's strengths and put it all together, and maybe we can get the movement going faster. So anyway, I'm not sure, because I have to tell you, before that experience this weekend, I always like virtual meetings. It just seems to be faster. It seems you don't have to travel, but I don't think we would have come up with all these ideas if we hadn't met together. So today I'm agreeing with your point completely, and hope people do show up.
I love it. I love it. And the old adage, as we wrap things up, is if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think those words really have a tremendous amount of impact on what we're talking about, changing the dynamics of healthcare for those who are in the greatest need, which is really everybody. Is we have to go together. It has to be a multi-layered approach across the community. I think the ChatGPT answer really honed in all the various aspects represent different segments of our population that need to come together to really change the picture with it. So, wow. Thanks so much for spending a little bit of time with us. For those of you out there, if you have not signed up for the HELP conference, it's not too late, right? www.thehelpconference.org. What the help? Let's go get it. Let's get the help that we need, and look forward to seeing the Dr. Kim Williams this coming March 24th through 26th. You get a chance to learn not only his tennis greatness, but learn at his feet about nutrition and cardiac health. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us. Look forward to seeing you. Take a look, folks. Get your QR coders ready and take a look. See you soon.
Fantastic.